Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows every Thursday at 8:01 p.m. and full shows online at WCBE.org. I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Johnny DiLoretto. This is Cinema Classics.
You know it is.
What do you got to tell me about?
No, I'm interested in the Asian influence in America and what we really know. There are current tensions that are going to have to be worked out, and I'm hoping that they will be worked out.
Because what are the tensions?
Well, I'm afraid to say it because I'm going to be censored.
What are the tensions?
The trade war with China, for instance.
Well, I think here on WCBE we can talk about the trade war.
Thank you. I just had, well, he's actually an official here at WCBE, so he's given me to say it. Anyway, that's the major part right now.
Okay.
And I think we need to know more. So are there a couple of movies out recently that might tell us a little bit more about Asians? Oh, yes, I think so.
Huh? What?
Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians.
And The Farewell.
And The Farewell. I've seen neither.
Yes.
My recent exposure to Asian cinema has been limited to the scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Brad Pitt fights Bruce Lee. And you know what? I'm sad about it. It's just I can't keep up with everything. As far as recent Asian cinema goes, the only films I've seen, going way back to The Host. You remember that one?
I do remember it.
What's the Train at Busan or whatever?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Train at Busan. I've seen that one. So a zombie movie, a monster movie, zombie movie, and Snowpiercer, which isn't really.
And what about Crouching Tiger?
Oh my God, John, that's 30 years old.
I am just saying, one you might have seen.
I have seen it, and you know what? I didn't like it.
Okay. All right. Well,
but no, it's not that I, as a young film student, I used to have to watch these Ozu films and samurai films and
Raise the Red Lantern,
Kurosawa and stuff like that, right? But in recent years, I just haven't been able to keep up on a lot of foreign cinema, not just Asian cinema. So I'm curious what's going on here.
Yeah. All right. So what I think is going on is that we're getting a real sense of a kind-hearted, open culture that we sometimes stereotypically see in a different way. And I think both of these films, Crazy Rich Asians, which is a fantasy about the upper class of China, which doesn't exist anyway, but which is a pure fantasy about the glamour of China, of Singapore in particular, which I hear is very rich, and about the class structure. And again, we get over in Farewell something completely different. A middle-class family torn by a tradition of emotional kind of just reservation, a reserve, because grandma has been diagnosed to die in 3 months and the family does not want to tell her.
Oh.
But Americanized Chinese lady who comes back home young says, of course we tell her. We want to say goodbye to her. We want her to say goodbye to us.
I get it. Okay.
So to me, culturally, that says, look at the difference between the West and the East is very clear. What is the difference? The thing that I learned long ago in trying to deal with Asians, for instance, in a business way, is that you don't ask a person sitting at the table who is Asian his or her opinion.
Oh, you don't?
You do not.
In a business sense?
In a business, if you're sitting around the table, and what do you think? You do not.
Okay.
Why? Because they consult. Because that person needs to talk with his or her constituents to come up with an appropriate response. Whereas the Westernized, we're all individualists, tough.
Bunch of ideas.
Right, man.
Spouting
just ask
like
me.
crazy.
And I'm going to tell you, Asians have a real sense of community. Beyond what we could ever believe. And that's what happens in Farewell, is that sense of community, where they're going to not tell grandma why. Well, they don't want her to suffer psychologically, but more than that, they want to assume the emotional burden and let her be free of it.
Well, that's really beautiful, actually.
Isn't it? I agree, exactly. And so we always have, when the Westernized person, like in Crazy Rich Asians, she's coming to visit the improbable Henry Golding playing Nick Young.
Yeah.
And he is the heir to this fantastic empire. And she's coming in as a professor, middle class, from NYU. And the family resists her because she doesn't have money and because she has been westernized.
Okay.
Yes, go
No,
ahead.
I was going to say, so, talking about the business of movies.
Yes,
now,
yes.
China is this huge market.
You
And
got
some
it.
of our biggest budget spectacles are often tweaked and or carefully
I agree.
sculpted
I agree.
and resculpted
Yes.
to be released in China to play to that market,
Yes.
right? I think recently there was this rumor, I don't think it's true, I think it's been debunked, but that Tom Cruise's patches on his jacket in the upcoming Top Gun sequel
Okay.
were changed not to ruffle Chinese feathers.
Okay.
They say that's not true, but we do know that movies are often tweaked to appease the Chinese market, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this: does this movie even? I mean, will this see a release in China? Will it? How will this movie be accepted if it's basically saying some of these Western notions are of value?
Well, because I think the film, particularly The Farewell, the most recent
Yeah.
one, reinforces the Asian sense of community and of love, and it's resolved in a way that would tell you that I'm predicting this, that it is very positive from the Chinese point of view,
Okay.
and it's brilliantly resolved, so that everything is intact, and the Chinese culture is looking even better than ever. So I believe this one, yes, according to your question, will play very well in China. And I believe it plays very well here.
Yeah, we'll get wide release here.
Yeah, it gets wide release here, even though the westernized young woman,
Aquafina.
objects to their reticence about the prediction for Grandma's death.
Yeah.
She acquiesces. Aquafina acquiesces.
Acquiesces.
Anyway, so that's a great question, and I don't know and actually picking these as we were talking about it and wanting to do these, and the same when I go way back to Crouching Tiger, or even Ang Lee had a film out a couple of years ago. Golly, what's it called? The Wedding. It's Wedding Banquet.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, that was like in the early '90s.
93. You're so right. Wait a minute though. But what I wanted to say is, it's the same thing. It's a wedding setup.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember the guy was gay.
Yes.
But this was unacceptable. So they fashion a phony wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that these two that we were talking about, and the reason I so wanted to chat with you about it, is that there's an element of this that makes me think it's made almost for Americans.
Uh-huh.
Well,
I mean, Crazy Rich Asians was such a huge hit.
Yes.
That it had to have been. I mean, what is the take on that movie? Maybe Mark can fill us in. Was the take on that movie's success that Asian audiences turned out in droves to support that movie, or that it was a crossover hit
I think it's both.
with white audiences?
I think it's both, mostly.
Both?
So
Yeah.
both, yeah.
Think about who's in the movie, like cast-wise, it's such a gigantic cast with great Asian characters.
Mm-hmm.
And until that point, I think it would be the first Asian movie to hit #1 box office like in a long
Ever,
time.
right?
Which is
Yeah,
insane, which is great.
Right.
And that star power leads to, I want to watch that movie because my people are in it. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
So it just naturally just flows together like
And
that,
then
I
it
think.
becomes this sort of cultural touchdown where it crosses over.
So Mark
So
just confirmed for us that it plays on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But that also, Mark is our intern. Probably couldn't hear him, so that's why I'm repeating.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what I'm saying about this, Mark, is that Crazy Rich Asians is pure fantasy.
Yes.
You could see it on either side of the pond.
Oh, for sure.
And enjoy it, and know that there's nothing real about it, except that there are many, many more billionaires in China today than there were. These are being manufactured regularly. So the idea of super rich Asians is not so foreign. There's some reality about that, you can say.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you, is there any creative turnover from the first movie here? Like, is this by the same director or anything?
No.
No.
No, Lula Wang.
Okay, but Aquafina's in both, is she not?
Yes, she
Yes,
is.
she
You're
is.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we've damaged relations, have we? Here
No,
with
I
this?
think you've done a splendid job of, opening the door. Maybe putting the first, salve on the on the trade war, the first détente.
Can't post it on Facebook though.
So I'm kind of like the Nixon. Opening up the door.
Exactly.